Sefton Park's pretty busy today. I think the break in the rain and the wind has brought everybody out. Don't blame them. Dragged me out as well. January. The daffodils are up already. Now, when I was a kid, growing up on Smithdown Road, living in Home Street in the very late 1950s, 57 to 60ish, the way that we got to Sefton Park here was by walking down Hartington Road. Hartington Road consists of quite large houses, some of them being terraced houses. They were certainly a lot bigger than the house we had on Home Street, and I guess that they predate them as well. That Hartington Road was there for a long time before Home Street was built. But they're not as big as the houses that surround Sefton Park. You would have been mega rich to afford one of those, as you would if you lived on any of the roads around here, Ullet Road, Princess Boulevard. All those would have been extremely expensive. But these days, that's all changed, because these large, probably very posh houses back in their time are now a very different proposition. So I just wondered if we could explore why that is. This is Smithdown Road, and that road there is the road I used to live in. That's Home Street. I don't remember it ever looking as scruffy as this. It certainly wasn't that scruffy when we lived there. But this was our way to Sefton Park, down Hartington Road, the next road on the right. There are one or two Hartington Roads in Liverpool. One is in West Derby, there is another one in Garston, and this one, which is in Toxteth. I think there's also a Hartington Road on the Wirral. I think it's Wallasey somewhere. This Hartington Road goes a long way back in time. I couldn't find exactly when this was built, but I'm going to guess it dates from the 1800s, probably the late 1800s. This is a photograph which was taken, and it's the other end of Hartington Road, the direction we're headed, and this to me is late 1800s Liverpool. This road would have been very sought after when it was first built. It's very close to Sefton Park. It's in walking distance of Princess Park, and it's also within walking distance of Liverpool city centre. I would guess you would be quite rich to live in one of these houses back then. Possibly the terraced houses were cheaper than the larger houses that we're going to come to. But even so, they would be an expensive place to live. The rich of Liverpool would have lived in the Georgian Quarter, they would have lived on Princess Boulevard, they would have lived on the surrounding areas of Sefton Park and the likes of Ullet Road, Toxteth Road and such like. So they would have been a lot richer than the people who lived here, but you would have to be well off. You would have been a trader of some description to live here. But these days, things have changed, and I guess they began changing in the mid 20th century, the 1940s, 1950s, when the rich started to move out, and the houses were sold to developers. Now that doesn't mean to say that every house is owned by a developer who rents it out. I would guess that some people actually own these homes and live in them. If you were going to buy one of these houses today, the average price according to Zoopla is £360,000, not pence. £365,000 to buy a house in this road. And I would guess that price has escalated and been pushed up because they are bought by individuals and companies who want to buy them and rent them to other people. Some of the bigger properties on this road have 7 and 8 bedrooms. There was one for sale, 8-bedroom house, 360,000. Now I'm going to guess a house like that would be a prime buy for somebody who wanted to rent it to students, because they would share the living room, share the kitchen, probably share the bathrooms or bathroom, however many there was, but they would all have a bedroom each. So 8 bedrooms, 1 living room probably, and it's rented out to either students or professional people who can't afford their own house yet. And that's why these houses are so expensive, because they know that a developer will make their money back within a few years and turn this into a profit. Not only that, but they also own the house as well. This is St Bede's Church, and the architects were a J.E. Cutts and a A.H. McMurdo. So the original church was built in 1886, and there was a bad fire here in 1919, and the church had to be rebuilt. It reopened in 1924, but nobody really remembers what is left of the original 1886 building. I remember vividly 1 or 2 of my trips along Hartington Road being pushed in a pram. I remember the view from the pram as well, with the little tassels hanging down and a couple of plastic toys, which was quite embarrassing really, because I was 26 at the time. But yeah, I do remember some of the trips down here with my mum and dad being pushed along on our way back and to from Sefton Park back in the late 50s. Now when I make videos, especially roads like this, people remark in the comments about how scruffy they look, and I can think of quite a number of reasons for it. One is that people don't care about rented property in the same way they would if they own the property themselves. But what really I don't understand is why there is so much rubbish strewn around on the streets around here. There is plenty of paper hanging around on this street. You can see it blowing in the wind. And if you look down Home Street where this video started, it looks like a tip. And really, it's just because people do not care about their surroundings anymore. That's the only reason I can think of, is that once they shut the door, the outside doesn't seem to matter. If you go back to the 1980s, this road was in worse repair then than it is now. There's photographs around on the internet which I couldn't put on because of copyright, but this was partly derelict. There was a lot of buildings that had broken windows, buildings which were boarded up, buildings which probably have been pulled down and replaced. Now it's quite pleasant. Well, it is in the day anyway. I don't know what it's like at night, but I think developers, although sometimes are looked on as people who make money from other people's lack of money, I've turned this road into something that is a lot better than it used to be. But look, this is just my opinion. If you've got an opinion on why some of these roads look scruffy, why there's paper lying around everywhere, and I don't know, just generally not well looked after in places, then put a comment and we'll discuss it, because it's something that comes up, and every time we make a video it's like, oh, it looks scruffy. So I'm going to look back down Hartington Road. This is the view, almost, that was in the photograph that I showed earlier. It actually shows St. Bede's. So I'll put that photograph up about the end and show it what it looked like in the late 1890s, I guess, and what it looks like today, roughly the same view. So this, after crossing Toxteth Road, which is what Hartington Road does, it runs from Smithdown Road to Toxteth Road. Around the corner we come to Sefton Park, and this would have been my journey with my folks back in the late 1950s, and then back again. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch up soon.